Hi, I'm Rigger. This is You Alright, and woo, that was a chapter. We didn't let off the accelerator from last time, it seems. So, if you're new around here, this is a thoughts video, and what that means is I'm going to go through the episode again, seeing as I just watched it, and I'll use frames on the screen to elaborate what I'm talking about as we go through, just so we're all clear. Now, before we start, be sure to like the video if you like it, share it if you think others would like it, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and subscribe if you want to see more. Alright, let's get this thing started. Woo! Starting off real quick with the slow stuff, but I really like this shot. They played a lot with the depth of field here, having something so far in the background, seeing them coming through the dome of his window before they got there, having this one pass high in the foreground. I just really like it. It's a nice creative shot. It didn't have to be, and they put in the effort playing with the glass. I noticed. Great work. So, yeah, it's glad to see them putting in ambitious little parts to what could be nothing shots. That's what really gives it that extra feel, you know, that extra little polish. This could just be a close-up on him or looking through the window at his face as he gets this information, but no, we did this nice, you know, multi-layered shot that has a feeling to it and emphasizes just sort of the situation that's going on and plays with the layout of his office, so I thought it was cool. Again, it's might be a long review because I got a lot to talk about, but yeah, I love this next shot too. Look at how afraid they are. And you might go, oh, it's a bit much, they're just reporting. Can I remind you of Councilman Sleet? They are delivering bad news to the guy who shot the last guy who was annoying. So, yeah, and I do love this. We have Jakshni. I don't care about Jakshni. No one cares about Jakshni. Good. And it is nice he didn't squirrel out of there, but whatever. So first off, I'm going to say I like Crow using his bird form to hide. It's a nice thing because a lot of those guards probably weren't aware of it, or even if they were, wouldn't be expecting it. Using it to stealth attack is a nice little option. The only thing I'll say is they're trying to make it clear that they're doing, like, you know, non-kill takedowns. You know, he's choking him out. But he holds this guy for less than a second. So the only thing I can conclude is that this guy is faking, or he somehow applied this choke so hard that he crushed his windpipe in one go and that guy is dying on the floor. Like, chokes can be done incredibly quickly, especially blood chokes, but nothing can be done that quickly. So my only conclusion is this guy is somehow dead. Rest in peace, my guy. Final Flash! Yeah, this was really cool. This was a really dope way of doing this. And, yeah, I know they had to put in a flashing lights warning before the episode, which is understandable, but this was a really cool way to execute it. I know that the excuse is it wasn't armed. This is, it's hard to tell. This is a shot of them taking the payload up to the whale. I know it wasn't armed, but as far as you know, everything in this world runs on dust. Like, the explosive would be dust-based, which is a volatile substance. It's amazing it didn't just go off, by the way, and just wipe out this battlefield instead. Like, sure, in real life, bombs need to arm, and there are mechanisms in place to prevent that, but I find it hard to believe when there's dust in there that it taking a shockwave like this wouldn't have seriously put everyone in a lot of danger, at least. So, that was lucky. I've criticized before that RWBY doesn't do slow motion very well, and they don't. It has been something they struggle with. There are a lot of awkward slow motions. The worst one is obviously, I think, probably Blake in Volume 5 when she does a double axe handle to the back of Adam. It's just way too slow, way too long. But this might be my favorite use of it, just because everything is so still and it's just the tray falling with that lovely light. I think that might be the best version of it. So, kudos for that. So, I am kind of confused that it seems like it eradicates a lot of these flying Grim. Nothing about it is Grim destruction based, it's just a blast. And if they're saying that it's just the shockwave of, like, through the air, that it's just pushed them off screen and they're not actually dead, even though some of them do seem to fade away when this is in motion. I guess. But that means that shockwave would have murdered every human being on the ground, anywhere near that thing. And I know we're not playing with real life science and we got auras and stuff, but yikes, my guy. That was murder beam. Also, everyone was saying that he probably is going to use a time-based thing. I do kind of like that. I did suggest it when we watched it, you know, when the episode aired, that it might be a murder beam. The idea is just obliterate Salem as hard as you can and hope it just get as much time out as you can for her to, you know, to form back together. Hazel said he got a few hours once, so maybe just, yeah, atomize her and it takes her longer. It can't stop her, but it takes her longer. And everyone's saying, oh, well, she should have done a time thing. Maybe he can't. We've all just been assuming for so long. But that's not what they discuss it being in this episode. So, you know, if you want my personal input, I think it was more that time and clocks and stuff was more to do with actual Ozpin's body. If you watch the fight at the end of Volume 3 between Cinder and Oz, he does move incredibly fast. I'm thinking that might just be Ozpin, like actual, if that was Ozpin, that Headmaster's body's actual semblance. So about, who knows? Who knows? I'm making a whole load of extra work for myself because I feel like I have to put in every single frame because it's so good. They really put their particle effects to work for this shot and all their lighting engine. Look at it. It's so great. And, you know, obviously this still frame doesn't do it justice. In motion, this is fantastic. And I really love the fallout we're about to get through the rest of this. And this may just be one of the coolest things ever. Neo just skipping away through the smoke. That's fantastic. In fact, that's awesome. In fact, I mean, it's Neo, and I love Neo. Speaking of Neo, my last video I made before this video, please check it out. I'll put it in the card up top, in the top right-hand corner, and I'll put it in the end screen. I made a video very seriously talking about Neo talking, and you know, it's a very serious video, but if you're interested, please give it a watch. But anyway, back to this. Yeah, her skipping away and just utilizing the glow of the lamp in that fallout is fantastic. Once again, they just took full advantage of the scale here. I love the ribcage look. It's very reminiscent of lots of things that have used like the exposed ribcage for scale. Lion King comes to mind when they go through the boneyard and stuff. But yeah, just that structure. It's fantastic. It really evokes that scale, and it shows you just how powerful the blast that Oz let off was. Though the fact that like Jean and them lived, just incredible. But yeah. Anyway, so this whole section, I couldn't help but feel it felt very much like the Spider-Man games or something, where it's just hanging out on a rooftop in like a sort of very empty city because of the blast and everything. So it's just two people on a rooftop talking, and the rooftop's kind of bland and open, which is fine. But it just has that feel, especially because of, you know, the RWBY's 3D look. But I do love this. This is something I question, and it's come into play here that 3 different members of Salem's inner circle have all worked against each other accidentally. Like, you have Salem, who sent the Hound, and then you have Watts, who programmed Penny, and the Hound interrupted Penny, trying to take Penny back to Salem, but Penny was already programmed to go somewhere else, and then you have Cinder on the outskirts, who wants the power, and you'd assume that maybe Salem might still wanted to get the power, who knows, but it seems like it was part of the plan for her to get the power, but Watts' programming has taken that power away, or at least in his plan, because he has her on set to destroy herself. And Salem also ripped that power away, possibly because she was just going to take Penny back to her and probably just go to the vault. So you have all 3 members of these people just, like, working against each other accidentally, and it's pretty funny. But yeah, I do like that Watts had to explain to her the difference between, you know, controlling her and having her under control. He gave her an instruction that she's following, and that's it. And obviously Watts' history comes up here because, you know, he hates Polendino, especially Pietro. So yeah, he's gonna have her kill herself, because screw you, Pietro. But obviously that screws up everyone's plan. But he was smart enough to do it after she gets the relic, so perhaps Salem won't care. But Cinder definitely will. And we'll keep going with this scene. So I think it's very funny that so Cinder's plan here is to drop Watts off the edge. Now maybe she intends to burn him till his aura's out, then drop him. Obviously that probably wouldn't save him, but we do learn here that, I guess would make sense for a scientist, but apparently, due to Arthur's fear of this threat, and that it would probably kill him, it seems that Arthur never learned a landing strategy. He did not go to school for this, he went to science school. So, yeah, that's a thing. And I do like that finally, I thought, you know what, I was so ready for this. It's not the way I planned it out, but I did have a theory that Cinder would kill Watts. Way earlier this season. You can go find it on my channel. It was a Cinder's backstory. I put it out where I combined their histories a little bit to make a reason Cinder would kill Watts. Now, we didn't get that, but when I saw her lining this up and getting furious, I was like, oh, can I please be a little bit right? Can it be Cinder that kills Watts? And I unfortunately don't do it, but it had me on the edge of my seat. But I do like that Cinder's like, hey, Salem is literally still pulling herself back together. They use that line, which is funny. And I'm just gonna drop you off this roof, and then I'm gonna go get Penny because I know where she's headed now. So yeah, let's run with that plan. Obviously, it doesn't work out that way, but it's pretty funny. So I do actually like they point this out. Everyone has gone down Cinder's list of failings. She screwed up with Raven. She screwed up with Penny. She screwed up a bunch. And, over and over. And people will make fun of her for it, and that's fair enough, in a way. But I do like he actually brings up, I was the one who said don't do that back in Volume 5. Like, you need to be smart. What are you doing stupid? And, we get those nice flashbacks with that red filter. I mean, it's very basic for, filters of that, but I'm not gonna criticize them on it. I like that it's running through Cinder's head. What I'm hoping for is we actually get some character evolution for Cinder, rather than keeping her, people make fun of how she acts. Well, the best way to change that is not to kill her or whatever. No, it's this. It's have her learn from what people are saying. It's have people talk to her like, hey, you didn't realize, maybe you haven't realized how bad this all is and how bad this stacks up, but let me explain to you how to do this. And she nearly kills him in the process of this, which, I don't blame her. He's purposely riling her up, but he makes a good point. And I'm hoping, beyond hopes, that this leads to Cinder development. It's the good natural way to do it. Just stack up all of her failings in front of her, have her confront them, but have her decide to address them, not just leave them be. Yo, we got tears here. This is what I meant. Character development. We're putting this in Cinder's face, and what's his comparisons were, you think you deserve it because you suffered, but, suffering's not enough. And you think, you can't just be strong, you gotta be smart. You can't just get it because you deserve it. You have to be worthy, you have to earn. And look at what happened here. Watts, of all people, who she hates and they have feuded forever, cracked her here, and look at it. That's a proper tear down the cheek. I thought, when I initially watched the episode, I thought it was just a welling in the eye. Definitely a tear bubble, but just a tear bubble. Nah, that's a tear running down the cheek, and I want to see more of this. I want to know what happens here. By the end of this episode, we're going to get some crazy stuff. Ironwood's going nuts. The rest of the team have stuff we'll get to in a second, but I want to know what happens here, because you're right, you're positioned perfectly to really make something of Cinder before we end this volume. And it's just incredible if we get there. This is your chance to start her down a path that will turn people back towards Cinder, and people have hated her for so long. There were people hoping she died in Volume 5, as silly as that is, because we have so much left to do with her. But here we go. We're starting down that path. I've seen the Bumblebee people, or just people in general, really talking about when this might happen. Just, they see each other through the phone. Now, we got no tears or nothing like that, but it is a nice moment, and it's a great expression on Blake. And as we continue through this scene, they keep talking. And, it definitely, obviously the reunions are bright, everything's good, are you guys alright? Yeah, we're alright. You can hear RWBY in the background going, oh, it's so good to see you, that's nice. But I have to talk about the next thing, because I got a criticism here. It's nothing big, it's something small, but look at this. This looks wrong. I'm sorry, this needs a shadow. She needs shadows in her palms. These hands look weird. Her wrists have no shadow lines, inside her palm has no shadow lines, but she does have them on her fingers. And maybe there's some visual person out there who say that this makes sense for the lighting they're in. Perhaps it does. But this is a sustained shot where she's looking at her hands, and especially when you can't see her nails as much as they move around, it looks really wonky and really flat. There is shadow on the back of her hands, and you can see it coming through a little bit, but her palm needs a shadow or something. Again, minor quibble. I've been really praising this episode on its visuals from everything we've done. But yeah, I can't say I didn't notice that these hands looked really blocky and flat. But it is interesting the developments we'll get with Emerald here in a sec. So it is, and she's mourning Hazel, which is interesting because yeah, I mean obviously, like okay, the team survived that somehow. I can buy Oscar survived it because he had a bubble. I guess the others jumped off the whale and somehow it shielded them from the blast being sort of under it because they would have jumped off the ledge. Sure. I mean, they should be dead and their brains should be liquefied from that shockwave, but sure. But now she has to think about, you know, people have said it before, but Papa Hazel, he took care of them and he's clearly sacrificed himself for them. There's no way he lived through that. I do think it's interesting that yes, the whale exploded, but there's a good chance half of those particles flying by them are Salem too, by the way. But yeah, I just thought I'd point it out because fair's fair, and again, I might be wrong on like a technical level. There should maybe not be shadows there, but for this shot, it definitely looks off-putting when the hands look. There's like no depth to where the palm is, to the base of the palm, to the wrist, to the forearm. It just looks a bit strange, especially for a sustained shot. But that's it. I'll move on. So this is an interesting debacle they're in. Because I did say that there's a good chance, like, okay, yeah, they were all there and they caught Emerald straight away, you know, but there's a chance Emerald just runs. Like, Emerald runs in the explosion, she hijacks a ship, and she flies out of here, and she heads straight to Vacuo to meet Mercury, and we don't catch up to her till next volume. That was an option on the table. And actually, no, I'll get to it in a second, but I do like the discussion about, well, hold on, we also can't trust you, so we can't let you go. And then Ren says, well, we sort of can. But then, well, Jean brings up, well, we can't let her go because she has to pay for all she's done. Also fair. And then Ren says, well, we should consider it because she's very helpful. Like, you know, she could help us. Maybe we can consider it. But then we bring this up, something we haven't talked about in a long time, that yeah, Emerald was a contributing factor in the fall of Beacon, at least, that led to Yang losing her arm. It's a very real reason for her to have an issue with this, like, more than just everything that's happened. But yeah, she lost a body part due to this, and she hasn't talked about it in a long while. But it's okay that she's not totally fine with it. You don't just get over that. And yeah, you have someone in front of you who contributed to it. So here we have Yang listing off things, everything that happened at Beacon. She lied to us, she tricked us, she's dangerous, and we get Ren Vision. So who wants to interpret what's purple, huh? I haven't gone and looked up mood rings in a while, and I don't know if they're going to exactly match. I would actually wonder, with Yang listing off the things that she's done, I'm going to assume that this is regret, honestly. Like, yeah, she's not outwardly saying it. She's like, I agree with Blondie, let me go, blah, 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 blah. That's her outside, but Ren doesn't see your outside. He sees what you're actually feeling, and I think it's going to be tinged with regret and sadness. Obviously, things are falling down. That usually indicates, you know, the tone of the mood, so down, bad, sad, something like that. But yeah, I'm thinking it's actually regret, so that'd be interesting. Maybe I'm wrong. There might be someone out there with a good knowledge of mood rings who thinks it does apply one-to-one and or whatever. But yeah. Hey, this is another nice double bluff, you know. We already got help today from someone we don't exactly trust. Oh yeah, Hazel did help them. You mean Oz? Wait, what? Yes, and he did mean Oz. And this was an interesting way to depict this. A nice little fake out. You have, because I mean, Ren's like, I had a feeling. I don't think he shouldn't have been able to feel that, but maybe he can see like a second emotion in there, who knows. But it is an interesting way to pass this subject. Like, look at Yang, she spun real quick. What? Like, Oz is back and you didn't tell us. Like, ooh, that's a little jab there. Okay, so here's a thing we gotta talk about. When we were taught it, he took it. That's the opposite of what we saw in, I think, every case. Because when it was Salem doing it, seemed to be just Oscar. And then when it was Hazel doing it, he specifically said he's taking it easy on me because he can't see you there. Like, so this seems like a retcon. Like, I actually, like, maybe I'm wrong, but as far as I can remember, in every instance, people talked about this, that, you know, he didn't take it, it was Oscar taking it, and they had a scene about this earlier in one of the other chapters, where he brought it up. He said, you should let me take it, and he said no, because he was saying Hazel was taking it easy. So, this is a lie, or a change. this is not consistent. And like I said, fair's fair, I'll point this out. As far as I can tell, this is wrong. Also, I do think it's interesting the way Emerald is looking back there. So that's pretty interesting. So they went with kinetic energy. I can't say I'm upset about it. Everyone's talked about time and time and time, but I don't mind it. It's potential energy. He's stored up potential energy somehow, magic I guess, over lifetimes and lifetimes, waiting for the day to use it. And he stored it in the cane. So that means that the amount of magic, quote-unquote magic, that he used was basically the shield, because it probably stopped him from being destroyed by that blast. But the blast came from the cane itself. So he's used it on the bottom of Atlas, which, yeah, that's what that was. And he's used it, a huge amount of it here, but he does say he hasn't used all of it. He's most but not all, so he has some more left, which is nice. But yeah, it makes me wonder what the process of storing kinetic energy is. It seems, because it's sort of, it's not a concept, but it's like you're storing the potential of something. You know, you're storing something that almost hasn't happened yet. It's an interesting idea, and like anime and lots of things have used this idea before of kinetic energy. But I do think it's a nice way they took this that wasn't time energy, which is really hard to define. At least kinetic energy, people get what that is. So, and yeah, it's just a raw energy, just raw force. So, yeah, it's a cool development, and I think it's an interesting direction they took it. I don't think they're going to elaborate on it any more than that, but yeah, and it definitely lines up with blowing Salem into microscopic pieces, but you know, she will be back. So after this, they bring up the idea that, you know, that is lifetimes and lifetimes of energy that he stored up there. It seems like Salem's making her move on the world now, and it could be the big move, but we know watching this show this will be the story, but in the world of the story, they don't know this is the last time around. You know, as far as Ozpin knows, he'll be reborn 10,000 more times, and this will keep going. So the idea that, yeah, he trusted my judgment on whether or not to use this to get us out of there, it's a big sacrifice. It's using something that, you know, isn't just easily, regained. And the idea that if he can trust us like that, we should try reciprocating that trust to, you know, someone like Emerald, because even though they didn't mention it directly, Hazel did come around and help them. And Emerald is, I gotta be honest, when they were standing around talking, like about the cane, they sort of broke the 180 rule a bit. Well, not really, they sort of stayed directly on it, but they flipped the camera directly, and I sort of lost track where Emerald was, and for a second I thought she'd vanished in the background. It was one of the shots where it flipped from looking at the back of Emerald to sort of looking at Jean, and for a second I lost track of them and I expected to see Emerald in the background and she wasn't there. But it does bring up the point that I was actually convinced that Emerald was just going to peace out and like just vanish and run. I don't know if auras are broken or what. I guess not. I mean, Ren's got his, but yeah, I was just like, if they stand around talking too long without paying attention, I was waiting for like them to sneakily just have Emerald vanish while they were talking from the background. Like, you see her in one cut away to someone's close-up, cut back, and suddenly she's just gone. It would have been a funny thing to do. But anyway. And now we get this, which is, it's pretty interesting. Obviously, we all remember everyone fleeing underground down to the subway. I remember there was a worry that the burrowing, what are they called, sentinels, would get to the people. Like, you know, they took down the towers, but even though the animation wasn't really there for it, they sort of kept burrowing into Atlas, and it would have been a disaster to send all these people down here and then have sentinels, like, you know, without any huntsmen around here to protect them, just charge in and murder these people. And that hasn't happened, as far as we know, at least at this station. And we do the signature, how do you know that there's destitute people needing help? Baby crying. But I have to point out, okay, I'm not going to go capture the visuals for all of them, but they did some really good transitions in this episode, and then they did a bad one. The best one, well, one of the ones I noticed was right at the beginning, Ironwood slammed his fist on the table. Crow throws his fist at someone in the punch when they're getting out of the cells, and it transitions through his fist to Ironwood's fist hitting the table. Good transition, really nice. and they did some nice ones with Through the Explosion from the whale. This one was weird. It really felt like a video game load screen because they were in that tunnel, and as they go around, there was a big white light that started filling the end, and I thought, oh my god, there's a train coming. They're about to all just get hit by a train. Like, that's what it looked like. Oh my god, the lights are coming around the tunnel. And I figured that there wouldn't be trains running, but that's what, like, if you have characters running down a train tunnel heading towards a curb and you see bright lights approaching, you think, oh my god. And yeah, I don't think they could all survive being hit by a train. So I thought that was happening, and then no, it pans up to a big white light. And we've only seen a couple white lights ever in RWBY, like full-on white, like whiteouts of the screen. And it was like Silver Eyes in Volume 3, and we saw one this time with the cane blast, but they're pretty rare, and usually you use them pretty sparingly. Sometimes you can use them like going outside. Like, you can sort of, I think they almost did one when Oscar opened the barn door in the beginning of Volume 4 to show like all the lighting engine, how bright it was. But here, they go around the tunnel edge and it goes into a bright white light. And I'm like, oh, okay, are we transitioning outside? Like, are we gonna go see something? But no, we transition back to here, just back to this tunnel where they've just come around that corner. It's like the video game couldn't load them going around the corner. Like, the station here is the next bit of the level, so they had to go through a transition thing. It was really weird to bright white light and the camera went up, like panned up, like as if towards the sky. From there you'd think you'd pull back from the sun or something and show what's going on, even though the sun shouldn't be out right now, so I don't know. But I thought we were coming out of a different light. But no, it just comes to this. And I know you might think, well, what was this criticism? Well, I've been really nice this episode, and I'm really liking this episode, but it was a very odd choice for transition, and it felt really janky. And yeah, I feel like that was a rush, and they're like, well, we can't animate them going around the whole thing and approaching. We don't have the time, budget, and money for it, so we got to put in a transition. But it would have been better to transition somewhere else first, not here, because it just played very strange. I know the idea is they're coming around into the light of this thing, but the way it plays on screen is just very odd. So I thought I'd be fair and level that criticism, but we'll move on with the plot. Okay, and here's what I really wanted to talk about. I made another video in the last week called The Emerald City, just as a Wizard of Oz reference. And it was about what could happen if Oz and Emerald combined powers or worked together, and what we could do for a crazy ending. And I implore you to also go watch that theory, because this line right here is a good little foreshadow that maybe we could get something like those. So what I did was, I basically laid out ways the heroes could use Emerald plus Oz plus Jean in a lot of cases in like 3 different endings to finish off this arc, finish off this volume, and how to deal with Salem and things we could do using her trickery and what we can do with the situation in the city. Some of those involve the whale, which obviously doesn't exist anymore, but sub out the whale for any other flying creature, it's fine. Or just Salem flying or whatever. Like, there's plenty of ways around that. But this has me thinking they might try and do something like that to finish this out with something clever, having used Emerald on their side. And it's something that they bring up here, so I just wanted to point that out. So check out that theory, but also, even if you don't, think about that they might use Emerald for some trick coming up. Because yeah, he says, however this fight ends, we could really use someone like you. So meaning either now, when like to end this fight, or in the future after this whole incident is done, if we survive, she can be incredibly useful, which is true. There's a reason characters like Neo and Emerald are on the bad guys team, because those powers are super useful. So you want to give them to your bad guys to be annoying, not your good guys to utilize, because you can do a lot with them, as I point out in that video. So yeah, it's a very interesting note. I'd pay attention to that line. So interestingly, we know that Crow may be out for Ironwood's head, and that's on him, that's fine. But I do think it's interesting how much emphasis that Ironwood has put on them. At the beginning, when the soldiers were in there, he said, don't come back until you've got them. And then here, it's, oh, we lost this and that, and we lost Watts because Cinder got him, and that's not all. We also lost Crow and Robin. Like, as if they are so important compared to this outside threat. You got Salem on your doorstep. Yeah, the whale just blew up, but you know she's immortal, still grim everywhere. You don't know the condition of people like Hazel, you know that you've lost Watts, you know that Cinder's still out there, and yet you have this strong emphasis on Crow and Robin. And we'll find out he has a plan as to why, but it's just crazy that he's putting this much emphasis on their escape compared to someone like Cinder's escape. Especially saying, we don't have the Winter Maiden, and you know Cinder wants the Maiden powers. I'm sure you know that. So, yeah. Okay, and here's where I need to geek out and just give so much praise to the voice acting here. Ironwood kills this scene. The flitting back and forth between anger, resoluteness, and seriousness, and then dropping it to a near manic interpretation of logic and almost laughing at himself for this sinister plan. Oof. And he directly says here, I had, bring me, Ren and Jean and Yang. Why? Well, I had Crow in my hands, and I didn't do what needed to be done. And then he laughs. I'm amazed I didn't think of it sooner. Just flying off the handle here, going round the bend. And he says that he needs the Winter Maiden now, and the only way to do that is obviously leveraging the lives of her friends, aka bring me Penny's friends, and I'm gonna put a gun to their head on TV and make them come here. That's his plan. I mean, that's why he wanted Crow and Robin so much, is he wanted them back to do the same thing. If they're still around, get them back here so I can threaten to execute them on live TV and make those silly, pesky RWBY people come back here with Penny as well and just, cooperate like they should have from the start. Yeah, it's so silly I didn't think of it earlier. Oh well, you'll do that for me, right? You'll help me. Isn't this a good joke between friends? He killed this scene. I love the voice acting here. It's incredible, it's impeccable, and it's scary as hell. And this is Ironwood has, okay, as soon as he shot Slate, you could say there's no reason to follow him. He's definitely going around the bend. He's totalitarian dictator. He's just, But here, he's gone completely insane. And I've said for a long time that I assume he's going to get a redemption suicide at the end of this, a kamikaze, perhaps. And he still might get it in some fashion, but it's so much harder to come back from this kind of act. And amazingly, this isn't the worst of it. It's gonna get even worse. He's like, I was thinking about going chaotic, so chaotic neutral. And then he's like, you know what, chaotic evil. We're just going bad guy by the end of this episode. So yeah, we'll keep going. But yes, Ironwood's VO just absolutely nails this one. It's awesome. And there it is. She finally totally snitched out. She was, she was aggressive from the start. She was mad about Clover. She was crappy to Robin. She was not understanding. She was mad at all the shade that got thrown on her, and then she cut the legs out from under them and sold her out. And yeah, I really don't, okay. Let me just put it this way. We don't have confirmation of what's going to happen. I mean, we have Ironwood's crazy plan, but he's aware of Weiss, and he had the leveraging people's lives thing in mind, which he'll bring up. I wonder if he's going to put Winter's life on the line too, to deal with Weiss. Be like, hey, Team RWBY, Weiss, your sister, right? Click gun. Stop. Because, I mean, you see how he is with Betrayal, and he's going to count this as Betrayal, and I'm just... Don't be surprised if not only all the crazy stuff at the end of this episode, but if he puts a gun to Winter's head, just don't be surprised. On TV. Just saying. To emphasize my point, the explanation about what she did, and the fact they never came back, and that whale, as far as he knows, blew up, so maybe he lost those bargaining chips. This is the close-up they give us. So, let's hope they don't, the worst version of this, right? The worst, cold-hearted version of this is Team RWBY turn up to try and help, and they just find dead Winter somewhere. We didn't even see it. Just punished. But, we'll see. But, of all the darkness and craziness that's going to come for the rest of this episode, don't let this one drift to the back of your heads. This could come back really hard. Just saying. Do you have any idea how expensive capstone tables are? You gotta replace that. And the holograms too? I mean, come on. Yeah, he totally Hulk smashed, which is pretty funny. But yeah, they were our last chance. Now we have nothing. We've heard words like that before from him. And yeah, I'm just gonna say, Winter, whew, okay. See what I mean about dealing with Weiss? It might happen. I know he does something else here, which is also insane. But yeah, I mean, he's very happy about turning to Leverage, and he's got a Schnee behind him who definitely loves Weiss, so... Oh god. Once again, knocking it out of the park with the crazy voice acting, the I've gone psycho laughs. It's always been about mental, hasn't it? Laugh to myself. And he does the evil, you know, finger temple and clenched fists, like, plotting, scheming bad guy. He's, taken a, little cue from Jacques Schnee, it seems. But, oh, this realization, it's rough. And, what he's gonna do with it is even rougher. The idea that because he's leveraging, we'll get to it, but, yeah, I've praised the Ironwood, voice acting for a long time. The first episode, I think, of the volume, I was praising it, and this might be the best one ever. This might be, I mean, considering that the Ironwood's probably, I can't imagine he lives outside this volume. But yeah, he's going off the deep end, saving it all the way till now to deliver this performance. So excellent, so great work. He's the winner this episode for voice work for sure. He doesn't get the big laugh gold star moment, but that'll be coming in a second. She's the best. She's the best. Oh, I love Neo so much. This is the okay. Can we also point out that Neo's photo is clearly that Cinder took it of her and she didn't want it to be taken, and she's about to like push her away. Just look at the body language on that profile photo. That's excellent. Also, the fact she puts in emotes on her message. Your boss won't stay dead, but you will without this. The sass is incredible. And yes, I'm showing that I'm using all the frames of this phone call because this messaging thing, but it's awesome. Neo's sass is off the chain here, and I love this play. That she's gonna get what she wants because now she's got leverage, and leverage is fantastic. And Cinder should be trying to get Penny, but she like Neo points out, Salem's coming back, so you know what that means. So maybe you want to help me because oh look at it, look at the disrespect. It's incredible. She's the best. I love that she's clearly set up her phone to take this photo. Like, she set it up and put it on timer to do this pose. Like, oh, look what I got. Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny. She is the best. I've said forever how much I love Neo. I've done whole videos on Neo. Again, check out my Neo video, the more serious one. But this is awesome. This is the coolest play, and we have. I do like the callback to Neo using text on a phone. Why not? It's great, and the fact that this is tearing people in different directions. Well, what are you gonna do? And now Ruby's in a lot of danger. If you want her name, which Neo has, you know what you owe me, and it's Ruby, the thing she came here for. So, the stakes are now, Cinder has to go get Ruby to deliver her to Neo to get the lamp back, or Salem's gonna blame Cinder for losing that lamp that she brought her initially, because, especially if Neo's the one that took it, so then that will mean Cinder probably is dead, so she can't have that happen. But also, Cinder's on the clock, because as far as she knows, Penny's on the way to the vault and gonna kill herself. So, and that means she loses the maiden power. Ooh, we're torn so many directions, and it's fantastic. Neo, you're the best. You're the best wild card you could ever ask for. I really like this play because more than like, oh, Neo's gonna ask questions and that, like, I do like the fact that she isn't even worried about that. Like, no, just give me what I came here for. What I've been asking you for like 2 volumes now. 2 and a bit. I wanted to get Ruby, and you've been going, do this, do that. Well, guess who's got leverage now? Get Ruby to me, or you're dead. Fantastic play. Neo's sick of waiting around. Gotta love it. Yeah, I know everyone's going to talk about the moment after this, but this is still really nice. the big sister swing around. It's it didn't like, you know, kick me in the heart or anything, but it's still nice to see. The reunions are always good, and at least we didn't have to wait multiple volumes for this one. But still, it's effective. It didn't get me, but it's effective. So, you know, shout outs to there. And I do love that they put this animation on there, especially with, you know, Yang's the strong one and Ruby's small, so yeah, they spin each other around. That's real cute. So, though it takes a very strong person to not feel anything at the sight of Rose Ruby tears, it didn't get me. But yeah, you know, you can't not feel that. And Yang's response of just, I miss you too, you know, goes without saying, and hopefully, you know, they didn't get into their conflict as much as I wanted this volume, but I'm okay with this. We got so much else going on that it's fine. And we'll get to what everyone's going to be talking about. Alright, I'm not going to hold off from it for forever, but okay. From this moment here, I wanted them to do it. To commit and do the kiss. And I would totally fine if they did it. And this was a perfect lead-in. So they go hand on cheek, brush cheek with thumb. Her eyes come around and meet her, get a blush. The other Yang's eyes meet her, get a blush. They lean in, and they do the forehead thing. I think you blew it. People talked about they should have kissed at the Adam thing. I completely disagree. You know, if you want to do... I'm not saying, yeah, you have to... You know, I'm not a shippy person, it's fine. Whatever works for the plot, whatever works for the story, those are the relationships that should happen. But this they clearly want to do. And it's fine. I think it would have been really wrong to kiss after Adam's death. It's weird to murder someone together and that be your kiss moment. Yeah, you got over a thing, but it's really an odd, like, let's, you know, give in to how we feel because we just murdered a dude, despite him being, you know, a bad dude at that point. Like, just, yeah, like, okay, but that's not time to kiss. For your first nice kiss. This is a reunion that kept them away for a long time. They both clearly worried over each other. You had the cheek, you had the forehead press, you had the lean in, and they didn't do it. So, I'm not, like I said, I don't like push ships, whatever, whoever ships whoever, fine. This, though, for the story, I think they should have done it here. Not only would you have broken the RWBY fandom, which, good, you know, put more crazy stuff in, but I think it's almost cheap if they kiss later now. Because this feels like the moment. You had your Adam moment, and they did their promise, and you know, they teased it there. They did all the looks through 7. Then they had their separation here. Then they had the reaction through the phone earlier this episode. They finally come together. You have all the motions, the hand, the cheek, the blushes, everything. And they go back to the forehead press, like the promise thing. That's fine, in theory, if that's their thing. But you want them to kiss. Like, the show wants to do this. And it's either they're too scared to do it, or they're trying to milk it even more. And at this point, I would have committed here. So, as much as this is a nice scene, and I think it was well executed, the fact they didn't kiss, I think, is a miss here. I think it's a negative. This is when you do it. So, maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure they can build up to another nice moment together, and they'll do it later in the season. They'll kiss at the end or something. But by the end, we're going to have Atlas falling. We're going to have people dying. Right now was an okay time. Everything was calm enough. They just conquered a huge thing. Pretty much everyone here is safe. I mean, they ask, where's Nora, which is fair. But, you know, it's not like there's no crying or panicking, so she's not dead, as far as they know. Like, they're not walking into death. It would have been the time to do it. So, as much as this is a nice scene, I take points away because this felt like a miss because here was your opportunity. Just commit. Just do it. So, anyway, I wanted to make that clear that no matter what ships you support or not, you have to recognize when beats build up to a climax, and here was your climactic moment as far as I'm concerned on an emotional scale that made sense, especially with what was going on around them. Especially if you want to have a nice kiss. Like, you know, if they have, like, they're flying away and Atlas has fallen to the ground and people are dead and there's war and they kiss to console each other, fine. But you wanted a nice, like, loving kiss with an upbeat, you know, for their first kiss, an upbeat moment. Here was your opportunity. So, I think it's a waste they didn't do it personally. And I will say that, yeah, it is Ran who says, "Where's Nora?" And people start walking over to him. So hopefully they're going to have a scene, maybe next episode, where we, they have their makeup thing. And that'll be nice. And that should happen too. But, with the characters that are in the room right now, that kiss still should have happened. But we're going to leave the Ren and Nora thing till later, which is fine because we got a big thing coming to end this. And here's a little thing I actually didn't notice the first time that Oscar was going for the hug. Not that they shouldn't hug. Again, this is a shippy thing, like if you want Rose Garden or not, whatever, just your own thing. Obviously I wouldn't have gone for like a kiss or anything, even if you wanted that. But I do like that RWBY had to pull up and stop. Like, she would have gone for the hug, sure. Like, hey, you okay? Like, whatever. And then whoop, stop, and Emerald's there. So that is a nice little spanner in the works to just keep everyone on their toes. Like, oh, we got to deal with that. That's going to be a thing. That's a face you don't see RWBY make much, and I would like to see it more, especially when appropriate. But yeah, it is mutual. RWBY goes for her weapon first, but Emerald definitely goes for hers too. She wasn't submitting. But yeah, we have Oscar jumping in, saying, "No, wait, I'll vouch," sort of thing. But then we get the big climax. So, woo. I'm actually going to take one brief moment out to compliment the voice acting again. May's tone change here from, "Oh my god, they're not alone, everyone run," like the grit and the screech for "everyone run, get into the mines," really well executed, great acting, I really bought it, lovely scream, lovely yelling, which is hard to do, so yeah, really good stuff. Also, this looks really great, the scroll layout, like the filter they use for the scrolls, looks really nice. Minor thing, but compliment where it's due. I like that you can just see RWBY's fingers through the back, and you can see the mountains in the background with a fair bit of detail, and May still pops against the back, so yeah. Cute little visual note, but yeah, it's cool. But, yeah, this is gonna be bad. Minor attention to detail, but I love it when the alarms go off. Blake covers her more sensitive ears. I know it's nothing, I know you'd think, yeah, of course you would, but in that moment, someone has to stand there and go, "Hold on, we're animating this. Yang's gonna cover one ear, the other two are gonna look shocked. What about Blake? Oh, she has the most sensitive ears, so she's gonna cover her cat ears." And it's a cute visual, and it's only there for like a millisecond. It's only there just while we do a transitional shot, but still, nice job. Fancy new scrolls indeed. That's a new one. It can create a gigantic television layout just floating in the air. Not against it. Think it's awesome. Think we should have used it more if it can do that. Feels like it was just invented for this scene so that they can show this to everyone without everyone just staring at their scrolls, so they can all be looking at one location. But still, I dig it. When's this technology out, please? Although any screen you can see through the back is not great for actually watching anything, but whatever. Initially when I saw this, I thought, oh my god, are they actually shooting down cargo ships full of civilians? Now, they're not. They're just the drones, but they are meant to go and save the civilians, so it's still just as bad. This is a absolute evil move. This is how, Ironwood's gone off the deep end to the nth degree. So, yeah, that's that. I mean, we're about to see the next shot, which will definitely confirm it, but that's rough. And he's broadcasting that on TV. Like, this is where you can tell he does not care what any citizen thinks of him. He doesn't care about leading Atlas in the future if they get through this. It's just, yeah, no, we're doing this right now. And we're going, like I put it out on Twitter. So Ironwood has chosen full murder hobo. That's his alignment, that's his way of thinking. Kill everything in front of me. Nothing else matters. All costs. We're doing this. Okay, I know he's a bad guy, and I know he's evil right now, and I know that the point of this is not how it looks, but when this came on, it clicked in my head like, oh my god, that looks badass, and then I went, how long? How long did he test this lighting and set up this camera so he knew where he could stand for the best badass pose? He's like, this is gonna be my big ending speech. Hold on, I need like a top-down light, I need to like stand at the right bit so it silhouettes my head, but my shoulders can vanish into it. Like, he set up this shot. He's like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna look good. This is my big villain speech. I gotta really step it up for this one. So, props to Ironwood. I wanna know how many like soldiers are off screen that helped him set up this little shot. It was just a funny thing in the back of my head. I'm like I've worked on some like films and stuff like this. This takes work. You gotta set up this lighting, bro. this is gonna sound like the weirdest compliment you might have ever heard someone give to visuals in RWBY. Whoever animated Ironwood's finger did excellent work, and you're gonna go, what are you talking about? But when he puts up his finger, there is a really nice flow from his wrist up through his hand, up to the way the finger unfurls, and the small movements he has once it's straight. It doesn't just hang. It doesn't just stop in midair. It has little micro movements to it. That means that all those movements someone had to put in there, and someone put a lot of work in, and I applaud you greatly. It looks so good that it made me, like, upset that the rest of the show couldn't have all that polish all the time. Now, that's a ridiculous demand to be like, make sure all their fingers look awesome all the time, but it looks really good. It looks really, really good, and also the lighting and the shadows here are excellent coming off his hair and everything. I guess this is full circle. I had criticism of hands earlier in the episode. I have massive compliments for this hand in this end of the episode. So, yeah. If you're here for, like, just, tell us about RWBY, what do you think, or, praise it or crap on it or whatever, and no, I'm gonna spend some time, like 2 minutes here going, his finger looked amazing. Like, yeah, plot and characters, no, whoever animated that, excellent work. Thank you for all your hard work, and thank you for RWBY for this episode, by the way. So much to do with the whale exploding, all the particles, all the lighting. The voice work was off the chain for multiple people here, especially Ironwood, and the details in big important scenes like this, excellent work. So this is what you get when you get those large breaks in the middle of the volume. They really pay off for things like this, and this is a very important scene, so we'll keep going with it. I was thinking about capturing more frames so I can get all the speech on screen, but you know the speech, and I can just tell you, he says, you want to save Mantle, so I will leave Mantle alone. If you can, not even I'll help, I'll leave it alone to fend for itself, which was the crap deal they already had, if you come to Atlas and submit to me. Or, I have a bomb, and it will only take one because you're all in one spot, and I will drop it onto all the people down there and wipe it out. And then, once it's gone, there's no reason for you not to work with me because the thing you're trying to save is already gone. So, yeah, Ultimatum, which, who would have thought that's the name of the episode. But, yeah. But the reason I paused here is I just love that even Cinder and Watts give them each other a look like, wait, what? What was that? The bad guys cannot believe your evil plan. Now, as far as we know, Penny's just knocked out in the manor still, so I guess it's up to Team RWBY, but just, whew, oh my god. That's pretty crazy. He's so lucky that the Hound didn't end up taking Penny away, because if it did, ooh, okay, that would have been really bad. But yeah, this is a crazy plan. To think that bomb would come back like this is ridiculous. But yeah, Ironwood, he threw down the glove. We're doing this, all in. And we close out with the instructions that you have 1 hour to respond. I hope you live up to the title I gave you, Protector of Mantle. And we pan from a distressed looking Nora looking over to a completely KO'd Penny. Woo. So just give me a second, I'll be back and I'll give you my thoughts for the episode. Okay, so this was a wild one. This was something else. Mostly all good. Like I said, nitpicks here and there, some inconsistencies, but the setup is crazy. Ironwood has gone, like, people are like, oh, he went off the deep end at the beginning. No, he went off the deep end now. He found a deeper end and he went off that. He's just threatening to massacre people himself. He's sick of waiting around. That's pretty crazy. Now is when we want that crow fight. Like, come on, buddy, you gotta go murder that guy now. I was waiting for him to get redemption or do, a kamikaze run and do the right thing and go out that way. But, nah, he gotta get stabbed now. We're on a clock in multiple ways. We're on a clock until Salem pulls herself back together. We're on a clock until the bomb is dropped on Mantle. We have chases because we have both RWBY and Penny being hunted by Cinder for different reasons, and they're together. and because you have that Neo being hung over her head. Oh, by the way, I bet you that either in the next episode or two, or at the end of the volume, which seems like weird. If it's the end of the volume, it's gonna be strange. Will be Salem pulling herself back together. Like the last tease will be like, oh my god, we solved something, and then we see Salem come back, and that'll be like the sting for the end. Probably not the end of the volume, because again, it's weird she'd be out that long, but maybe one at the end of the next, like we're gonna get an episode or two without her, and then boom, she's back for the end. So that's a prediction. Overall, nitpicks aside, this episode was executed excellently. There was some fantastic animation work, the lighting was excellent, the voice cast just destroyed this, it was so good. Jason Rose especially, who is Ironwood's voice actor, just gets all the credit in the world. He had to flop through a lot of emotions and change on the fly and deliver some long speeches, and he killed it. So, excellent work. The plot's gone haywire. The whale is dead? We're assuming dead. Who knows what Salem can do with it, but yeah, I mean, that's good. There shouldn't be more Grim spilling out constantly, although there is all the Grim in the air. We still haven't got the flying monkeys in yet. We might never, which is, yeah, what happened to all of them? But anyway, super good episode. Definitely a step up even from the other episodes this volume. This is probably the best one. This one and the last one, pretty close together. But despite the last one having the great moments with Salem, and you all know how much I love Salem, the ramifications of this episode can't be ignored. The impact of this. We got a full turn for Ironwood. I very strongly believe that we have Winter in some serious danger. We have Penny, who is out but has multiple people chasing her. We've got the time waiting for Salem to recover, which who knows how long that'll be, but it's not that long. We have Ironwood just gone straight off that deep end like crazy. We got the ships, the big solution that was pretty smart and made a lot of sense, being directly attacked by Ironwood, which is crazy, by the way. We got people in the crater running for cover because they got falling ships coming down on their heads, and they're hiding in a dust mine. Got that bomb hanging over them literally now. We've got Cinder and Watt seemingly sort of coming to some kind of understanding, but Cinder's getting leveraged by Neo, who has played her cards brilliantly at all stages and has just the best sass ever. We got a lot going on. But the team is back together, which I was going to say is a real big positive. I'm hoping that now the team's back together, we got 4 episodes left, they can do things together as a team from here on out. So it's going to be targeted, coordinated movements with the team as a whole, which is pretty cool. And we still have Crow and Robin running loose somewhere. So I'm thinking we might get a Crow vs Ironwood fight. I'm thinking we're going to get a rematch with the Aesops. I'm thinking we're going to have to find a way out of here because we're on the clock. And I'm wondering if they're going to try and run away before Salem wakes up. Or when it wakes up, pulls herself back together literally. That could be the way we do this, is we try and get everyone out of here, and it's a little anticlimactic for an ending maybe, but we basically wreck through all the bad guys who aren't Grim or whatever on Atlas, and run away before Salem wakes up to chase us. It wouldn't be the ending I'd pick, but it seems like that might be more likely, so yeah, keep that in mind. And what else? I think that's everything. I'm really happy with this episode. We got a lot done. A huge episode. RWBY deserves all the credit because, like I said, nitpicks aside, this was excellently executed. The excellence of execution, indeed. And yeah, and well, just wanted to mention on that list of things, we also have Emerald coming into the fray, and we could be doing some fun stuff there, which is always good. So, now we've come to the end. Yeah, I guess it's time to bid you farewell. But until next time, remember that just because you heard it's cool to end on a bombshell doesn't mean you have to do it literally. My God, Ironwood. Anyway, my name is Rigger. I hope you have a wonderful day. And hope I did alright.